Hi, everybody. Today is the last step on our journey of our graphing project. So, yesterday you completed making one or more graphs that showed the data from your survey questions. Today, we're going to focus on asking others questions, drawing conclusions about our results, and then questioning more about what we know from our data. So now you have great graphs. What's next? Today we're going to create questions. Looking at your data and your graph, I want you to think of 5 questions you could ask a classmate that would be answered by looking at your graph. Let me show you some examples. You could ask something like, what is the most popular choice for, and then insert what your topic was. So, video game or vacation spot, whatever your topic was. What is the least popular choice? Which color or place or game is the most popular? How many more people voted for one than another? How many less people voted for one than another? Which two choices got the same amount of votes? How many total people voted? Or any other questions you guys can come up with that your person who's reading your graph could answer. Let's look at my survey was about balance balls. So my question was, do you think balance balls help you concentrate in the classroom? And I received 9 votes or 9 responses. So what I've done is I've looked at my graph and I say, okay, I'm noticing that there's 6 sometimes answers, 2 yes, and 1 no. So how can I develop questions using my data? So I put them side by side just so I can look and see it all at once. So what I came up with was one, which opinion got the most votes? And then I'm writing the answer is sometimes. So my second question is, how many more people thought balance balls helped them concentrate than those who thought they didn't help? So how many yeses versus how many no's? And that's one. There's a difference of one person with more thought yes, they helped than no. Notice that I put than in that yellow font. I just wanted to bring to your attention that that is a different than. Then THEN is so that you say, I went to the park, then I went to school. That's in a sequence of time. But this than is comparing. So how many more than is THN? So if you're developing questions where you're comparing two things, make sure you're using the correct than. So those are 2 examples of questions that someone could answer if they were looking at my graph. So in this slide, you're going to have in your math folder, and it's going to say complete in this upper right-hand corner. And every time you see that, just like the last 2 days, you'll know that's something that you're going to have to fill in. So today I want you to come up with 5 questions that can be answered based off of your graph and then answer your own question. So you'll see we have 1, 2, 3 on this slide and 4 and 5 on the following slide. So just, there's already text boxes there. Just go ahead and type your questions. I want to have a little checklist for you before you turn in your work today. And I just want to say, do my questions have capital letters to start questions? Do they have that? Does every single one go ahead and start with a capital? Do they have question marks at the end of each question? Sometimes we forget and we don't put anything or a period. But in this case, if we're asking a question, everything deserves a question mark. Does your question have capital letters for specific places or people's names or other names? Make sure that if you're talking a specific baseball team or a vacation spot, all these things have capital letters. And are specific topics named? And what I mean by that is instead of saying which one was the most popular, be specific. Change it to which Major League Baseball player is the most popular. So, whatever your topic was, name it in your question. So, which vacation spot was the least popular instead of which one was the least popular or which one got the least amount of votes? What do you mean by one? We want to be specific and specifically name your topic in your questions. So before you turn anything in today, go back to your slides that you're saying your answers and your questions and use this checklist to help you. What's next? Next, we're going to draw conclusions. So, the whole reason that we create surveys and look at data is so that we can come up with bigger ideas. What are we going to learn from our data? Why did we do all this work? So, here are some examples. So, I learned that blank is the most popular amongst 3rd grade students in Heathcote. I learned that people really like this game or this baseball player. I realized that people generally dislike this color. Or maybe this sports team is a popular choice for Heathcote third graders, or maybe this color is an unpopular choice for Heathcote third graders. I can maybe draw the conclusion that people enjoy playing this video game the most, or going to this vacation spot the most, or maybe people enjoy going to this spot the least. So we're going to draw conclusions based off of our data. So let's go back to my balance ball question. I really wanted to know, do people find balance balls a nice way to concentrate in the classroom? So here's what I came up with off of my data, that people have mixed feelings about balance balls in the classroom. I got that from my sometimes votes. I realized that it's not a clear, like, yes, they totally work. And that is good because now it informs my decisions for my classroom. Maybe next year I have some balls available and I talk to my class about it and say, what are your feelings about this? Let's test it out. And maybe I take them away or I keep them depending on my class because there's mixed feelings. So you want to look at your data and say, what can you decide based off of the opinions of your peers? I also drew the conclusion that a small amount of people definitely think balance balls do not help them concentrate. So it seems to be that it's not a definite no, but generally people say yes or sometimes. So you're going to draw two conclusions. You're going to say, what are two ways that you can kind of think big about your topic? Then you're going to ask questions. Now that you have some data, you've drawn some conclusions. Now I want to know, what do you want to know more about? Like, if you were going to ask a follow-up question to your peers about your topic, what would your follow-up question be? So here's what I came up with. Based off of my data and my conclusions, I want to know, if you don't like the balance balls, why not? I would love to find out from those no votes what makes the balance balls help them concentrate. Like, why are they not successful for you? And my second question, based off of my data and the conclusions I drew, is I wonder how many balance balls people think should be in the classroom. So since I got a bunch of sometimes and yeses, I wonder what amount they thought would be appropriate. So if you're thinking about maybe that baseball player that got the most vote, and why do you think, maybe your follow-up question is, what is it about that guy that you like? Why is he the most popular? Or if you're thinking about a color and there was one that was really not voted on at all, why don't people like that color? Is there something that that turns them off about it, that they don't enjoy? It reminds them of something. Find out more about your data. So your job today is to ask two questions based off of your data and you're drawing conclusions. What do you want to know more about? So, third graders, I hope that you have a good time today, kind of thinking deeply about your work. You're going to go ahead, you're going to use your data to ask questions and answer your own questions. You're going to draw some conclusions, and then you're going to say, what do you want to know more about? Good luck, guys.